welcome to my channel and welcome to my website. My name is Daryl and this is Programming in Any Language. The website is www.black-duck.com. It's where you'll find all my videos organized in a logical order. Programming needs to be done logically. Think of your buttons, the add, search, exit, and all the others as separate programs. In a sense, they are. Each button is charged with doing a specific task. And in this video, we'll take a look at coding form load and the exit button. Up to now, coding the exit button has been nothing more than closing the application. Not anymore. This application uses a tab delimited text file. When the program is started, the text file is read into the array. Once the text file is read, the program has multiple functions that can alter or add to the array. Consequently, the array will need to be saved every time the program is exited. What better place to do that than the exit button itself? Automatic save. And that form load needs to be looked at as well. When this application is first used, there is no text file. There can't be. We don't know what login IDs, passwords, and so on will be saving. So when form load reaches out to open the file first time through, the file won't exist. That's okay. There's a technique we can use to handle this situation. I'll show this to you. Let's watch and see how all this is done. Okay, it's time to program this thing. We're going to start and go do it piece by piece in a logical order that'll make sense to us, and it'll also allow us to kind of think clearly through each step that we're trying to actually process. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at probably form load, the exit button, and being able to set up any global areas we're going to need. I've got the password keeper hierarchy chart on the screen right now, and this is basically what we're kind of looking at. We're going to take a look at form load, I think, and set up our array and load sorted file to arrays. We'll think about this in a second. And display count. You know, all this is going to make maybe some stuff. We might make some changes here. We're also going to do the exit button. We're going to take care of that thing and put it all together. So far, we've gotten basically a password keeper that looks something like this. You know, it's got search, add, delete, edit, save, and an exit button. We got rid of the cancel and updates for the add and the edit because we're going to do those inside the panels, as we can see right here. As we got our change panel happen to be up here. And we're looking at that, our edit panels up here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on one of these buttons and actually make it happen. Let's go to our exit button, do that guy first, and get him into place. It's the easiest. It's the one I like to do first whenever I do anything, and we're going to simply do a // close application. And this .cloc. And through that. Now, we're probably not done with this button. I'm going to show you that in a little bit because we've got to do some thinking forward as we go through this thing. Let's go up into our global area right away. In fact, we don't need our toolbox anymore. We can kind of get rid of that. And let's go ahead and right under our class area, inside our class, I want to set up the global area. I'm just going to give it a little comment here and say global area. And we're going to set up a couple of arrays here. In fact, 3 of them. String arrays. First one is going to be str record name is equal to new string. And we're going to give it about 1,000. We start thinking about this thing, we probably want to be able to put in about 1,000 records tops. I don't know how many passwords we're going to actually have, but 1,000 seems a good place to start. If we end up selling this thing and people want to do more than that, we can simply up it or whatever what we need. But I think 1,000 is probably a safe number to start with. We're not going to exceed that, I don't think. At least I'm not going to. I've got a lot of passwords, but I don't have that many. Maybe I do. It holds 1,000 record names. And we're going to set up another one right away. And it's going to be called str login ID. And it'll be a new string of 1,000 also. Holds 1,000 login IDs. And one more. It's str string password. Holds 1,000 passwords.
So that's what our record's going to be. We can add more if we want to keep something. You want to keep notes or something on this thing, but right now all we want to really keep track of is the record name, which will be the company name or the login ID, or I should say the record name or the company or whatever I want to actually get at. We're going to use that as our search criteria. We're going to have a login ID, what we'd use to type in and get access to this place, and we'd have our password in there for our password. So that's the only three things we're going to keep. If we wanted to keep notes, we could certainly add that into here as well. But this is fine. This is going to make this thing work fine. I also want to realize that I'm not going to have this array filled. I'm probably going to have less passwords than 1,000 on here. So I'm going to create a pointer called MAX. I'm going to put it all in caps here just so I can kind of determine what it is. And it's going to be able to holds the actual number of elements in the array. And that allows us to do that kind of thing. So that puts us in good shape there. So that's our max. And that's kind of all we're going to need to do for this global array right now. We've got that in shape. So we've got our array established. What's the next thing we'd want to do? Well, we'd probably like to go ahead and do form load. So if we go to our form here and click on an area where we don't have anything highlighting, we can double click on this, and that's going to open up form load for us so we can actually put things in here. So what do we want to do? Well, we're going to think about form load is going to read in our file. So we want to set up a string here. String str full record. And we'll give this a little password thingy here, or a little tab, and it goes string to hold full record. What we're going to be reading in is going to come in this way. We're then going to set up our try. We'll put our braces in for that right away. And we're going to do our catch right away too. And the catch is going to be exception EX. And it's going to have a set of braces in it. And its message box will be .show. And we'll give it the system message that we're going to actually have in here. MESSAGE. And we'll go ahead and lay that in here, and we'll simply call this the system error message. We can go up to the top here, and first of all, let's make sure our system IO is available. I don't see it on here. Okay, let's put it in. We're going to be using that, so we're going to be using, that'll put that in place so we can use our stream reader and stream writer. So we'll go back down here now, and we'll look at our try. Now what we're going to do is we're going to say input file is equal to file.opentext, and we'll give it a name. We're going to call this thing my passwords.text, and that will open our file. We forgot our stream reader. That's got to go someplace else here. So we're going to go look at our try here again. And, oh, right underneath our try, as we get started in this thing, we want to be able to put in int x equals 0. And this will be our counter variable. And then we'll put in our stream reader. Stream reader is going to be input file. Activate stream reader. So we can read our file. Now we got our open file here. We can kind of set up our loop at this point in time. So we're going to say while, here's where that x comes in. X is less than str record name dot length. We're going to look so we don't exceed the bounds of the length here. We can go ahead and let this happen. But I also want to say something beyond this thing. I want to say and not input file end of stream. And that'll take care. So while it's less than the length of the array, and while we're not at end of stream, we want to go ahead and do this loop right here, which is going to do something. What's it going to do? It's going to basically do str full record is equal to input file read line. And we're going to increase x. X is going to be equal to x plus 1. And that looks good. And we're in great shape. So form load check is all set here to actually do its work and make it all happen. Does this thing work? Let's go ahead and do a file save and do a run. And right away we got can't find the file. So there's a problem here. I mean, this is typical. We want to have a file in place, but quite frankly, we have no records in the file to actually create it. So we need to do something a little different to make this work properly. It's okay to do this, but not a good idea. Let's go ahead and escape this thing, and let's go into. We're going to do this. We're going to let this input file access stream reader happen over here. This is just fine. And then we're going to ask it the question. Give myself a little space here and say if file exists, my passwords .text, then I want to be able to do something. And what I really want to do is I want to do all this stuff right here that's sitting in there. So I'm going to grab this and place it here. So if file exists, it's going to do this. Otherwise, there's going to be an else here. And that else is going to say max is equal to 0. We want to set up max and let it know what it's going to be. And then we're going to say that message box .show and say there are no records. You will be starting a new file. I'm going to set here then say that there are no records. And up here, after the x plus x plus 1, after we have to end the while loop and get it through here, we want to actually say max is equal to x, save number of actual array elements. So what we've done here is we still have our try catch. Let's bring this up a little bit. We still have our try catch working just fine. If something fails, the system goes, system goes bad, or the file is screwed up, it'll give us our system error message. We probably won't actually encounter this, so let's get rid of this stuff here. But if it works fine, then we're gonna set x to 0, do a stream reader, and then we're gonna ask if that file exists, go ahead and read it all in. If it doesn't exist, however, tell the user that it doesn't have it, but set max to 0, because we do want to set max to be something, and we can look at max then, and we'll know it's the first record. So this is going to help tell us if we have records or if we don't have records. We do want to take that into consideration. So that's all we need to do there. So our formula is going to check for file not found and allow the program to continue and let a person add a record and actually create that. So somehow we have to create this. How are we going to create it? We'll look at the exit button in a little bit and see how that's all going to happen. But we do need to go on with this thing. If we do read this file, we'll get the string record coming in, but that's not going to do us much good either, because what it's going to do, it's going to give us all 3 pieces, and we need the 3 pieces broken up. So we do have to enhance this thing and do a split on it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and we're going to go under the stream reader. We're going to set up a character array looking for a delim. We're gonna be setting up a tab delimited file. So we're gonna have a tab delimited file there. So we're gonna set this up to be quote /t single quote and our braces in there, and we can go around here and hit this, and that's going to set up our character delimiter. Create a delimiter array. Now we can use that to actually extract the pieces we're going to need in here. That's when we get down to where we've actually read this full record. So our input file is read in str record full record. And we've increased the count. So now what we can do is we can say right here, string, a string array called tokens, is going to be equal to str full record dot split delim. And that's going to split out elements. Once we've done that, we can actually grab those things, and we can use our three arrays and say str record name x is equal to token 0. Grabbed from split. Str login ID is equal to tokens 1, and str password is equal to tokens 2. That'll break up the 3 pieces and put them into our array that we created up here in form load, or in down here in form load, wherever form load is. Where'd it go? Here it is, right up here. These 3 guys right here. So now our read is going to do that if a file exists. If it doesn't exist, It's not going to do it. It's going to let us add our records on the fly as we move forward. The only other thing we want to do is once we've got this thing all done, it would be nice to go ahead and lay up the number of records that are actually in our form. And we didn't do that when we did our design piece. When we started looking at our hierarchy chart, we never said anything about that. So let's go ahead and look at our design and say, hey, we'd like to maybe make a slight change here. We need to basically put something up in here that's going to tell us we have a record. So let's go ahead and make a copy of this guy. Put it over here. Now, we want that big? No, we don't want that big. Let's go make a copy of this guy. Control C. Put him up here. And then bring him up here. We're going to go ahead and make some changes to it. We're going to call this thing Rex. Keep it small. Oh boy, I got all kinds of stuff here. There it is. We're going to change its font. Make it bold. And make it a 10. We want to line it up. We're also going to need a label up here. So we're going to grab a label we can actually see. I'm going to go ahead and open my tools again. View my toolbox. Let's grab a label from our common controls. Lay it in over here. Get rid of my tools again because I won't need it again. And we're going to go ahead and set this thing up to be a font of bold and 10. We're going to also set it up so that it is not auto-sized. I want to make it a little bit smaller though, so we don't make it real large, so it fits in our realm of our world here. Maybe 75 by 28 or something of that nature. Let's see, what's our size going to be? Let's see, maybe we can make it the same size as this. Let's go ahead and we'll just make it something. We do want to put a border around it because we want to be able to see this thing. So our border style is going to be fixed single. Make it a little smaller because we're going to be actually putting a number in here, our array number. And then let's go ahead and take these two and kind of align it. Let's align the middles of all these. There it is. There they're sitting there now. And I kind of just move this guy over now. Well, of course, we want to line him up. That text alignment here is going to be here. And same with this one. Put that in the center like this. And now we can kind of take this one, move it off to the side so it's kind of even with that, with the bracket, and move him up in close. And then let's go ahead and take this one and get rid of its text. We don't need that text because we're actually going to put something in there. So that puts our label in place. This thing we're going to center on the form. So now it's sitting where it should be. And that looks kind of good. Okay, so do a file save on this. Save all. Does this thing run? Yeah, there will be no records. You'll be starting a new file. That's great. It's telling us exactly what it's going to do. That's fine. So we'll go in here and we'll go off and on and we can do an add or whatever. We're going to do some control on this thing though because we don't want to actually jump into here when we actually get in there. Does our exit work? Yes, it does. Okay, that's working great. So that's good. So the only thing we need to do then is probably pop in that after we have determined that we've got x is equal to the max is equal to x or max is equal to 0. After all that, we want to go down here and back and actually say LBL. Oh, we need a name on this thing. Let's call this LBL record count. And then we'll put that in place in our code and say that LBL record count is equal to max dot toString. Oh, max dot text. It's label count dot text, of course. And then we can put in our comment post record count. Another quick file save. A run. We're going to start a new file. 0 records are in the file right now. That's exactly what we want. So that's great. Now, the other thing we need to do is we need to start thinking about how we're going to save this file. Because we've created this file now that we're let's look at our hierarchy chart. If we look at our hierarchy chart, instead of having a save button up here to do this, we might think about doing it in exit right away. In other words, if we go into the program and we have no records in there, we probably want to go to an add screen and begin to create things. But if we do that, we're going to need to save it when we're all done so we have some records in it for the next time. So maybe the best place to save is an automatic save every time we exit. In other words, if we add, we edit, we make any kind of changes, the best thing to do would be update the record, the file in our exit routine automatically, rather than asking the user to save what's been changed out in the arrays. This will make it automatic. So we made a change here to the hierarchy chart, getting rid of the save piece and actually making the right inside the exit button. But how are we going to do that? Let's take a look at this. If we jump back to our exit button, which is sitting right here, and look at that code, there's not much there. So what we want to do is we want to actually make changes to this thing and make it happen. So we're going to go into the exit button, and instead of closing the file right away, we're going to actually change this comment to say save file and close application. And then we're going to take a look. We're going to say if max is greater than 0. In other words, we have records out there. We want to do something. We'll set up a brace for it. And then if we don't have, if it's not 0, greater than 0, we want to do something. Otherwise, we're just going to fall through and hit this close the application. Any way you want it, we're going to close the application. But if it's greater than 0, we want to do something. We actually want to save a file. So we need to set this thing up and make that all happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a string, string full record. Oops, str full record. And this will be a string to hold full record. We can use that same word again because it's going to be private to this particular routine. We then set up 3 more strings. str part 1, first part of record, string str part 2, second part of record, and string str part 3, which is the third and final part. Piece of our 3 arrays. Once we've got that in place, we can do a try. That's going to be followed by a catch. So we'll place the catch right down here. And this will be an exception EX. We're going to allow ourselves to do an error, a system error if we have one. So message box dot show, and this will be ex.message. And this will be the display system error. But up in the try, we're going to do our typical file save. So right here we're going to take our stream writer, call that output file. This will activate stream writer. Make our output file equal to file dot create text my passwords .txt. Create file. I'm using create file rather than append file because every time we come into our program, we're going to be loading everything in there. We might make changes to whatever, so we're going to have everything that's going to be contained in memory. So we don't want the old file. We actually want to wipe it out and create a brand new one which has any changes that we've made to it. So we're using a create file right here to make this all happen. Then we're going to write the records. And that'll be done for int I equals 0. I is less than max, not length of our array. We only want to go as far as the number of records we actually have out on file, and I++. We do want to actually increase that I thing. So set up our braces here for our loop, and here's our loop. So str part 1 is going to be equal to string record name I. We're going to say assemble output tab delimited record. So we're actually going to create a record that is tab delimited. It's a text file. It's tab delimited, and we could actually read this into a spreadsheet when we're done with it. String part 2 is equal to string, not record name. We want to make this string login ID. We're going to have to go forward. String login ID braces, and then str part 3 is passwords. That puts all 3 places into place. Now we're going to concatenate the pieces together. So we're going to say string full record is going to be equal to string record name no, actually it's going to say string part 1. I do this way because I could do it like this, use the array piece, but rather than do that, it's a little bit easier, I think, to kind of just say string part 1 plus single quote \t single quote plus. That brings our tab in there. str part 2 plus single quote \t single quote plus str part 3. And that puts the whole piece together. We now can say output file dot write line str full record. And that writes the record to disk for us. And that'll loop around until it hits the max. So all our records will be processed, put on the file with the \t on it. And that's all we need to do. And this looks good, and because it's looking at 0 here, if it's greater than 0, it'll actually write that record. So if we look at this thing and try to run it right now, there are no records. You'll be starting a new file, pop into here, it goes into this. We want to get out, so we're going to say exit, exits out nicely, but there is no record in there. In fact, if we go ahead and look at our file, which I have, where do I have that? We go into our folder, go into our bin, and our debug folder. We've got the executable in here, but we don't have any text file in here because it hasn't created one yet. We're going to see a text file come in here once we have an add screen that actually puts things in there. So in other words, the only way you can get things into this program is through the add screen. Yes, you could go ahead and create a file out in the spreadsheet and bring it in so you have stuff, but this is the one way you're actually going to do. This is going to be designed to be using an add screen to actually do that for us. So that's what that looks like. Anything we need to change? Yeah, there is one thing we need to change. If you look at this thing right now, we've set it up so that it needs to, we can get rid of the save button. That's one thing we can get rid of right now. We can get rid of that because we don't need it anymore. So that's going to go. And the other thing, we don't want to show the edit button and all this kind of stuff on here. We kind of want to make these things all invisible so that they're coming up blank. So let's do that very quickly. We're going to go ahead and look at our form. We're going to get rid of the save button. We don't need this anymore because the exit is going to take care of that functionality. We're going to go ahead and grab all these guys here and format horizontal spacing make equal. Now they're kind of lined up that way, so we've created that thing. The other thing I want to do is I want to go into the edit screen here, and I want to go down to the bottom of that GPX edit screen, which that's where I am, right? GPX edit, yep. And I want to say visible is false. I'm going to send it to the back, and I'm going to look at the add screen. Click on it. GPX add is also going to be false. Send it to the back. Look at my delete screen. It hasn't been named. GPX delete, GPX. Good thing we checked that. This thing needs to be visible false. And set this thing to the back. We've got our search screen. It's been defined. It too will be false. File save. Do a quick run. And we're starting a new file. And nothing's coming up, so it doesn't show anything. So in other words, once we start this program, all we can do is press something down here. Well, we probably don't want the edit to go on. We probably want delete go on. We do want exit to be there, but we probably want add or search to be maybe just add. Especially if we have record 0 in there, we want to be able to force the user to actually add something. That's what we'll cover next when we start programming. But this is what it looks like so far. Not bad.
Well, as you can see, we got the preliminaries out of the way. Now we can move forward with each button and code those functions. Logically, it would make sense to code the add button first. This will give us the functionality to add data to our application. And that's the one we'll do next. You'll learn that while we code the add button, we'll also be looking at how to activate the add button and how it will affect the other functions in our program. To make sure things go smoothly, we'll test as we go to make adjustments where needed. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to use the website for easy access to all my videos. And if you get a chance, please subscribe. That way, you'll be notified when something new is available. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.